my glam dolls, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing very well today. So for today's video, we're gonna do something very fun. We're gonna play with colors today. We're gonna be doing a pop of color. This makeup look is actually very easy to achieve. All you need is a couple orange shades from your palette. You don't have to necessarily use the one that I'm using in this video, so just work with what you got. I do want to point out that I am using a couple palettes because I have different tones of orange shades from different palettes, so I wanted to incorporate those colors into this makeup look. I hope you guys enjoy this makeup tutorial. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this makeup look. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this video. Okay, let's get it. Brows are done. Now we're going to be moving into the Zulu by Juvias palette. We're going to be taking that orange shade, and I'm going to be using a small packer brush, and I'm going to be packing this on my crease. Really want to intensify this shade, so I'm just going to be packing it on until it's the intensity of the shade that I want it to be. Now I'm going to be creating a winged effect using that same pencil brush and also that orange shade. I'm really packing this shade on, as you can see, because this is going to be the start of the show. So once you have the pigmentation that you want to keep blending it out using that same brush, and you just want to diffuse that orange shade until it is all blended, because the key to this look is blend, blend, blend. I'm using a small fluffy brush. This is a detailing brush, and I'm using that same orange shade, and I'm just going to be using that to blend away any harsh edges that I may have. Now I'm moving on to the James Charles palette, and I'm using that red shade to really pack that on the outer portion of my crease. I want this shade to be popping as well, so I'm going to keep packing it on. This red shade will give a depth to your look, so you want to make sure that it is intense on the outer portion of the crease. So I'm going to be using that same small blending brush that we used in the beginning, and I'm just blending the edges of that red shade so that it's diffused with the orange. Now I'm using this yellow shade from the James Charles palette, and I'm just going to be using that to blend all of the edges on this beautiful orange makeup look. Now we're going to be cutting our crease. I'm going to be using my ColourPop concealer, and I'm first going to outline where I want this crease to be, and then I'm going to be using a micellar water to really get rid of color pigment that I have on my crease to make sure that the concealer is as pigmented as I want it to be. And then we're going to be filling in our crease with that concealer. Taking this white shade from the James Charles palette, I'm taking a flat brush, and I'm really focusing this on the inner portion of my lid. I don't want this shade to go any further, so make sure that you have it just on the inner portion because we're going to be adding more colors. But here I'm realizing that this shade is not pigmented, so I hopped into my Jeffree Star CREMATED palette, and I took the shade Death Blow, and using a smudger brush, this made the pigment much better. So I highly recommend using a smudger brush when applying white shades like this. Now I'm going back into the James Charles palette, and I took that taupey brown, and I focused that mostly on the center of my lid. I'm blending the two in between because you want to make sure that both shades are blended together. Now I'm taking the red shade from the James Charles palette again, and I'm focusing this on the outer portion of my lid. I'm using a smaller brush. This is a pencil brush, and I'm blending the two shades in between to make sure that both shades are blended together so that there's no harsh edges, because girl, that is the last thing you want. Now I'm going back into the James Charles palette, and I'm taking that even deeper red shade, and I'm really just focusing this right where the outer portion of my crease is, just to give it more of a depth look. With that orange shade from the James Charles palette, I'm really going in between the taupey brown and the red to just diffuse them together. Now I'm just taking a makeup remover to really get that sharp edge. This is my favorite technique to do. Moving on to lashes. I'm going to be using my lashes by Zulu. This is in the style Act 1. I absolutely love this lashes. I will have her website linked down below if you guys are interested. And boom, lashes are done. Moving on to our complexion. You know I love my Fenty Hydrating Primer, so that's what I'm using today, as well as my mix of Fenty and Ilmakiage Foundation. All of the shades will be linked down below for you guys. So I'm just dotting this all over my face, and I'm using my e.l.f. sponge, which is my favorite sponge to use at the moment, and I'm just going to be using this to blend all of that foundation into my skin, of course. Moving on to concealer, I'm using my NYX Born to Glow concealer. This has been my favorite concealer at the moment. If you guys have any recommendation of foundations and concealer, definitely link it down below because I'm on a hunt to find new concealers and foundation. And I'm just using that same sponge to really blend that out. Now moving on to our bronzer. I've been loving using this foundation stick by Juvias Place. It just gives you the best coverage. You know how like some bronzers, sometimes they tend to fade away. This one, because it's a foundation, it really gives you that full coverage that you want, and it'll stay on your face until you take it off. So I'm just going to be using a stippling brush to blend that out my face, and then I'm using my sponge to make sure that there's no harsh edges. Now to contour my nose, I've been using this Morphe brush. This is the Morphe M164. I've been loving using this to really contour my nose. And then I'm also, of course, going to be using my sponge to blend the edges of that concealer to make sure I don't have any harsh edges. Now before I start to bake, which I'm not really baking, I really just want to use some powder to press it into my under eyes to give me a smooth finished look, but you want to make sure you get rid of all of the creases you have so that you don't set your creases. And I'm using my Ciate powder. This has been my favorite powder to use at the moment. If you guys have any recommendation of loose powders, definitely link it down below because I'm also on a hunt for that. Using that same Ciate powder, I'm going to be buffing that all over my face to make sure that everything is set. We're doing the happy dance because we're almost done. And for our bronzer, we're going to be using my favorite Hoola By Benefit. This is my absolute favorite bronzer. If you guys have not picked that up, definitely make sure you do so. I'm just using dabbing motion. I do not want to swipe this product because I don't want it to interfere with my foundation. I'm just baking underneath my bronzer to give us that sharp look. And I'm using my favorite blush, which is the Alamar Cosmetics, and I'm using that peach shade, which I absolutely love. You know, I go ham on my blushes. So right here you could see how I'm really applying it on. I'm going back and forth with this blush because girl, your girl loves her blush. I'm just dusting that powder away. I don't want to let it sit for too long because I don't want to end up having like that really sharp edge. And I'm also applying some blush on my nose because I've been loving that sunburnt look. And I'm using my Smashbox finishing setting spray before I apply my highlighter. For highlighter, I'm using my Becca highlighter in the shade Champaign Pop. I miss my Laura Geller Gilded Honey, so I definitely need to re-up on that because it's just not the same without it. So this Shockwave eyeliner by LA Girl Cosmetics definitely made this look poppin', and it's so pretty. It just made the eyeshadow look so beautiful. And I'm going back into that Juvias Place palette, and I'm really focusing that underneath where that yellow shade is. We're literally mimicking the same technique that we did. And then I'm going into my Morphe James Charles palette, and I'm taking the orange shade to really blend that out. To tight line, we're using that red shade because you know I cannot go a look without tight lining my lower lash line. Using my white eyeshadow base by NYX, I wanted to focus this mostly on my tear duct and also on my lower lash line. The white eyeshadow was not giving me enough pigmentation, so topping this off with the white eyeshadow definitely made it perfect. For mascara, we're going to be using our Drama E mascara, and I'm just using it for my top and bottom lash line. For lips, we're going to be using our favorite Morphe lip liner. This is my absolute favorite. It's in the shade Spiffy. I need to buy more lip liners from them because they only cost $5, and honestly it's so worth it. It'll last you a long time because it's a long pencil. So I'm going to be using this to line my lips and also shade around it. And I've been loving this Maybelline Divine liquid lipstick. This is in the shade Diver, and I'm using a blending brush to really blend that shade with my lip liner. I've been loving the two combination together. And then I also decided to take this orange shade from Black Radiance. This really made the look so much better because I just love the way this orange looked on the center of the lips. I really just focused this on the center, and then I went back with my lip liner to line my lips one more time. To finish off this look, I'm using my Shine 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 by Essence lip gloss, and I'm really just using that to create this summer vibe. So this is the finished makeup look. I am absolutely in love with how this makeup look turned out. It definitely took some time. Like, I just want to point out that the blending and the crease is definitely going to be a little bit difficult, but don't worry, as long as you keep blending, it's definitely going to work out in the end, and it's going to be worth it. As you can see, I'm so happy that I did this makeup look. It's so stunning, and I absolutely love the yellow liner underneath my lower lash line. I think it just made it so perfect. So if you guys recreate this makeup look, don't forget to tag me on my Instagram at Glambyjesie, and also don't forget to join the Glam Squad and follow me in there as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup look, and if you guys would like to see more glam look, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos. Turn that post notification up top if you haven't already so you can stay updated whenever I post my videos. I do post twice a week, Wednesday and Friday, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!